So they group, and then they have one guy jump spotting for early info. This is a great jump spot angle, by the way. You jump spotting for early info. When he sees that they're there, now we get ready to flood site. We know they have to take it, so look at how they all just flood. This is what we call flooding site. When you try to enter site before they have a chance to plant the spike. And even though Zelsis hits these two hero shots, because the defenders are playing so fundamentally well, there's still no chance. It's a attacker-sided map, but the thing is, that's not a given. If you go into a game and you're losing on the attack half and you go to defense, that doesn't mean the game's over, okay? A lot of it comes down to what team you're playing against, if they have a strong defense or strong attack, right? So always keep that in mind. You always want to focus on the current round you're playing. You don't want to get caught up in, oh, this is attack-sided, so it's an easy half, right? Like, you don't want to get caught up in that. So really, how to play this map, since it's attack-sided, like this is the issue I see with defenders when they play this map. I'm gonna use Astrowall as a representation of the defense setup. Is I see a lot of people, they hold the map like this, where all of our defenders are like behind this wall. I'm just throwing random agents up here. If you ever catch your team when you have 5 people alive in this picture, let me make this bigger. But if you catch your team in a very passive picture like this, what should you do? What should you say? Say you're the IGL and you see your team is in this position and you haven't heard anything from the enemy team. What do you think you should do?
Call to go re-clear
Enter some
something.
space.
Yeah, we got to re-clear. Usually where we have 2 people, but we should probably re-clear B or re-clear A, or we can like send a drone. Like if we have Tejo, like a good one is like to drone, see if they're here. And then if we don't see anyone, then we could send one to stack, get ready for a push. But again, guys, on an attacker-sided map, same goes for Haven. You always want to be fighting for something, okay? So one round we could be fighting for B space. Most rounds we'll probably fight for A space because that's the easiest to contest when you're on defense. And I'll show you some setups. And we could also contest C space with, say we have an Omen, we can contest it with a one-way. This is the best way to contest C. But you don't want to be contesting all at once because, look, we don't want to be all on this side of the line either, right? We want to be like this. This is called seesaw, where you go aggro on one part of the map and you play more for you're trying to counter a site take on the other part of the map. Because if you play over aggressive like this, you'll probably get shut down on one of these areas and then you'll get fully cleared, right? Because you get overwhelmed by utility. So now we could also do it in reverse, where we go aggro A and we play more passive on C and B, right? So we go aggro A, and then we play more passive over here. That's kind of the concept of seesaw. Okay, you want to go aggro on one part of the map. You don't want to be playing all the way back like this. You don't want to be back here. You also don't want to be all in front of it. So we'll be going over that concept in different maps, but it kind of like, if you're looking at the radar and the enemies have cut noise and you don't know what they're going to do, a lot of times, like if you're all the way back or you're all the way forward or whatever, you can kind of figure out what you need to do based on this concept. Okay. So, like we said, we want to go aggro on like one of the lanes. And I'm not talking about agents yet. We'll get to that soon. But if we play, we go aggro B. This is one example. I do have an example of going aggro B that works. And it's actually, this is from our All-Star tournament on Saturday.
Oh, no.
Sorry, guys, but we learned from our mistakes, right?
No.
So this is what the enemy team's setup was. Let me delete these agents so we can look, right? So let's go to Vise was here with the wall. And then they had, it was Waylay, but I'll just go like Raze and whatever. And then they had people going aggro here. But what happens is a lot of times people just rush C. The enemies were able to block us C, and then when we were stuck here, they opened the door. So let's see what that looks like. And look at how fast we go and how fast the enemy team reacts.
Alright, missile link off.
It's a little small, but look at the radar.
Wait, like dash that on me.
They're fighting
Go
A,
fast.
fighting A. Just, yeah, speed up.
Isn't he?
There's 3 are
Running
guessing A,
up
at least
outside.
3 are guessing A.
We're walled off, we're walled off. One door.
78 on Vice.
Yo, wait.
So you see how they opened door and completely destroyed our push. Even though we got sight, we got completely separated, and now it's a 5 versus 2. That's very disadvantageous. So when you're on defense on Lotus, use the door to your advantage. If you're going aggro C, like say you put your sentinel on A and you go aggro C, and you hear them going B, open the door, break up the push. There was actually a round, I didn't have time to find it, but there was literally a round where we went aggro C, and we were getting pushed on B, and we just sat here and did nothing. Or actually, I think we tried to go all the way around. But the doors on Lotus are like the gimmick of the map, right? Like every map has a gimmick. So use these doors to your advantage. They're really good for fast rotating, for fast flanks, for retakes. Use the doors because it turns a big rotation like this into instantly opening door, right? So let's look at some setups now, and we'll talk about agent comp. So what I think is a really good comp is going to be Vise, Omen, Tejo, Breach, and Raze. Vise and Tejo are super strong, and Breach is really great for getting this early space denial because you can just stun this whole area right here for free. It's a free utility. And Tejo, his is free utility. You can basically get A for free. And if you pair it with a Raze nade, this is all free utility that can come back later in the round. But 2 of these will recharge, and 1 of them will recharge after 2 kills. So getting a space like that is super great. So I think these 3 agents are awesome. And then Vise is super great because she is just undeniable utility. Like as we saw in that clip, you just saw how that wall just completely shut down our push.
Alright,
3 are guessing A.
we're walled off.
It comes up, and then now it's open season for the enemy team to come and destroy us, right? So Vise is going to be super good for that reason. A good alternate is going to be KJ. KJ is great because you can do a setup like you have turret on B to get info, and then you have your denial utility right here with alarm bot. So KJ is another good alternative if your sentinel is not comfortable on Vise.
What if you do Cypher and just like put up trap B and just do stack C?
Yeah, Cypher, he's okay. Cypher's better if we'll get into it on attack, but Cypher's going to be better if you're playing more default. And default, just to sum it up for those who don't know, is whenever somebody says play slow, it's like that, but you play... you kind of play like how we do on defense, but flipped, like how we get aggression on one part of the map, and then we get info on the other parts, and then we can rotate wherever we think the enemies, less enemies are. But Cypher's going to be better for defaulting because his info, his cam,
And he has global utility.
and he also has free smokes here. Like you can smoke this off with the cage and get A late or threaten A, even if you don't go there. And the ult is good if you want to do a fast rotate, right? So let me keep going over agents. So like I said, Vise is going to be really good. Omen is great because his flash is really great for like A push. He can reach smokes at any part of the map. He's a strong controller. And then, like I said, like Raze is going to be your best duelist because she can the satchels are good in spots, and then the nade is good to clear out bend. It's also good to have that drone, the boombot as well. So this is what I recommend. But like you can see here, if you're not a Taeho player, Fade and Sky work really well. It's very similar to Taeho. KJ Vise. I could even see you putting a Jet in here over a Raze, but yeah. Sova's a no. Sova's a no, because Sova, what's really important on Lotus, guys, remember, is A control. A control is super important, and you'll see teams fight for this area really hard. And one Sova dart is not enough to contest this space, because they'll just break it and just hide behind rubble. But the other initiators, they can actually clear out this space with. This is undeniable. Like, you can't sit in these and live. It's undeniable util, right? Same with the breach stun. So that's why Taeho and Breach are better on this map. And think, what's another map that Sova's not good on? You guys know?
Fracture.
Fracture, yeah. And somebody said it?
Split.
Fracture and split. And think, guys, it's the same thing. Like, you need, like, it's very fast paced, and you need undeniable utility to clear these angles. And Sova Dart just doesn't cut it. And Sova is also more, like, slow, you know? Split, like, you need stun to get this space, or to get, you know, this space, right? So that's kind of why Sova's not going to be good on Lotus. That makes sense. Okay. So let's look at an example from some pro play to get an idea of how the map's played.
Saved for last.
Now both these teams are running Viper. I forgot to say Viper's a really good pick because this wall on attack allows you to contest A. Like, you can get A space without throwing the kitchen sink at it. Because, like we said, people are going to contest A. They're going to dump their utility here. So what you can do is just not contest this at all early, and later in the round you can lurk up with this wall. You can go, you know, in and around this wall, and that will help you get out to A, right? So that's what you see Fnatic and Sentinels doing here.
Sentinels like those really pacey attacks
This smoke is impossible now. They fixed it.
on Sunset and also on Bind. Are they going to keep that same tempo going into this? C site open for the taking.
Killed my bot.
They got stalled out. That Viper Orb, that Paint Shells goes down. They can pivot if they need to. There's loads of time to work with, but they haven't explored.
What did Sentinels just do? It was very loud.
Left.
Door, like, pop
They opened the door.
Left.
They
Yeah.
open the door. And opening the door threatens that they might go B. But they're not actually going there. Look, they're going
But the rest
A.
of the map yet. It's Chronicle. Had an insane performance last map on Bind. He is the one to defend on that A site behind Rubble. Boaster here to back him up. Paranoia as well, ready.
Out of all the players, he's the one you should be scared of. Shaking in your boots. But that shot wasn't clean, but Heroes was. Evades the seas, and Hero leans forward. Chronicle strikes, fighting back with Venom to it. Zeltis and John QT now have nowhere to step. The spike got lost deeper. They've lost down the players. The Sheriff in Zeltis' hand is really the only caveat that's on their side.
40 seconds left. Time's getting low. Turret watches B. And Alpha could actually position himself towards C if he wants to. The rest of his team playing that retake on A. They have the numbers, letting Sentinels go for the site if they want it. Durka on this jump spot. Said, don't worry, Buster, I got this. 18 seconds left, and they've shown where they want to go. It's going to be so low in time by the time they can get anywhere, but Fnatic's just going to push out before they can get the spike planted.
Retake, Zelsis, there's a moment to shine! It was Ben! He gets two, he tried!
Okay.
That was crazy.
Yeah, we'll get back to that spot.
I
But
thought they were about to win that.
what do you guys notice like here? and how they went back and forth here. Like
about the attacker defense.
you know what's something that stuck out, attacker or defense?
Like they
didn't
didn't
work to go A.
they didn't
That's what it
over
was.
rotate on
Yeah,
defense.
Valorant.
And they had Viper push up when they saw a bunch of people go and see.
Yeah, and you got Rubble. Rubble's a very good spot. It's very strategic because it's very hard to clear out, and you see how he can peek on an off timing. He just missed the shot, but he would have had 2 kills if he just hit his shots on a normal day, right? But yeah, look at the defenders on the radar here. Let's see. Like, you see how they're not playing aggressive on C or B, so they put someone in an aggressive spot on A, right? That's kind of what I'm talking about with this seesaw concept. They're ready to contest A early. They're not contesting A back when the enemies can take site easily. They're contesting it in this one choke point, which is going to be way more advantageous because there's only one place they can come from, not multiple. And then we're in a 4 versus 2. And what do you guys notice about the defenders? I'll let this play out while muted. What do you notice they do?
They all stay together.
Yeah. Just look at the radar this whole time. 4v2, so they group, and then they have one guy jump spotting for early info. This is a great jump spot angle, by the way. You jump spotting for early info. When he sees that they're there, now we get ready to flood site. We know they have to take it, so look at how they all just flood. This is what we call flooding site, when you try to enter site before they have a chance to plant the spike. And even though Zelsis hits these 2 hero shots, because the defenders are playing so fundamentally well, there's still no chance. That's like whenever you guys go up against a Smurf or something where someone's dropping 47 kills, that happened last season, you can still beat them if you just play fundamentally well. And that did happen last season. We beat a team that had a bronze 1 that was dropping 47 kills, right? So this is not really Lotus related, but it's just a concept that's good to know. Okay, so now let's talk about attacker strategies. So I talked about defense, talked about the comps. Let's talk about attack. So the same thing I said with this seesaw concept, right? Where you don't want to be back in this area and only have this space. You want to have like this space, or you want to take a fight B, or get C control so you could open door. The same thing is flipped for the attackers. The attackers want to deny that. The attackers want to have control of, watch. As an attacker, you want to have control of like all of this space. You can, if say you start to hit a site, but you get info that there's like 5 people on A, or there's even 3 people, what can you do as an IGL? What can you do when you know there's people A? Yeah, pivot to B really fast. And you see the difference in the rotation time between them rotating from heaven to B and from A main to secret. See how quick it is? That is why this map is attacker sided. Because it's only attacker sided if you have proper control. And that looks like this. Now, if you only have this control and you stay here the whole round, the defenders can go up here, get an aggressive angle where they're just holding this for info. Or they could take this aggressive angle, hold it for info, and then they could send the rest of their team to stack onto C, right? So you don't want to, like, if you try to take the space like this, you want to make sure you have either a lurk, or you have a turret, or somebody holding back here, so you know they can't flank you. And then, like, from here, you want to, like, you either hit site if you think it's weak, or you threaten B so it pulls some rotates off.